If you ever want to know how bad this ummah can get, you have to study the Banu Isreal. And the Banu Isreal, we mentioned the Quran, the Banu Isreal in the Sunnah. And if you study what happened to them, what phases they went, subhanallah al-azim, we are going the same way. In fact, I'm going to tell you a very interesting thing that you can do, right? If you open Surah Baqarah, because one of the things that hits you is, why is Surah Baqarah talking about the Banu Israel? Here you are, you open the Quran and you think, right? A lot of Muslims have this question and say, why is the Quran seem so sort of incoherent? The Quran is not incoherent. The Quran has got very deep messages. And the question comes to the questioner, why has Allah used almost one juz in Surah Baqarah when He said, Ya Bani Israel, from there all the way to سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ. The second juz, beginning of second juz, the few ayahs of the beginning of second juz, Allah talks about the Banu Israel. The whole 3/4 of a juz. Why has Allah done that? You know why? Because Allah is telling us, be warned, don't follow their pathway. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you will follow the same pathway as the Banu Israel, hadwan bihadwin, na'lan bilna'lin. The way one shoe is identical to another shoe, you will become identical to them. So if you ever want to have a deep study, go and check it out. And you read Surah Baqarah, you think, wow, what did Surah Baqarah start off with? Ya Bani Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوف بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون. The first addressing in Surah Baqarah is to the ulama of Banu Israel, to the scholars of Banu Israel. You read the tafsir, you will find it. The second, Ya Bani Israel, is to the common people. The second time it appears is to the common people. The first one where Allah says, وَلَا تَشْتَرُوا بِآيَاتِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. Don't take bribery and take money and twist the meaning of the revelation I gave to Moses. Don't do that. And you know what the first thing, the problem is going to happen to this ummah? Is that the ulama, the scholars, are going to be corrupted. That's the first thing that will happen. Second thing in Surah Baqarah, you see Allah Azza wa Jal talks, and the guys are talking, and He says, to them, for example, if you read Surah Baqarah, you'll see where Allah says about the actual Baqarah, the cow, and they're supposed to slaughter the cow, and they were فَذَبَحُوهَا وَمَا كَادُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. They eventually slaughtered it, but they weren't going to do it. They didn't have the mindset to do it. They asked, they said, what kind of cow? Is it a lean cow, fat cow? Is it a cow that's tilted the earth or not? They kept on questioning because they didn't want to do it. And the ummah, this ummah has been told to do basic things. Salah, 5 times salah. And they're making excuses. Do I really have to pray? Are you sure? I can't combine my prayers. Can't I do all my prayers all together in the night time? I come from work. I'll get more devotion in salah if I do that. You know what I'm saying, bro? You lost me there, have you? You know what I'm trying to say, bro? Some people ask me, they say, Imam, can I come home? Yeah, if I'm in my office and I'm starting to pray, when I pray in my office, I can't have the full khushu, my devotion, because office work, you know what I'm saying? So if I come home, I do wudu, I can do fajr, dhuhr, asr, maghrib, isha, one go. Imam, I'll do it with khushu', with devotion. I say, bro, you're on the next level. What are you taking, man? You understand? And there's the ulama that will give them fatwa for anything. That's the problem. Once your ulama and your scholars are corrupted, they will give fatwa forever, for anything. For example, there's a group of ulama today that have actually said usury is not usury because they said it's not riba, they said it's faida. Riba means usury, faida means some kind of benefit you get, faida means you get some interest. Interest is faida, you benefit from it. And they said, well, it's not the same thing. Now I can go on and on with that, but I don't want to go because we've got very limited time here. You carry on reading Surah Baqarah. Allah says, وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا أَمَانِيَّ وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. There are people amongst the Banu Israel who did not know what their revelations said. All they had was wishful thinking they will end up in paradise somehow. Right? وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. All they had, Allah said, was conjecture. It wasn't the truth. Now you tell me, brothers, have we not got an ummah today that don't know what the Quran is saying? Yes or no? Come on. And Allah said, this is the problem of the Banu Isreal. Then He moved on. He said there's internal fighting. You read Surah Baqarah, internal fighting between themselves. You telling me the Muslim ummah is not having internal fighting right now? Yes or no? Come on. Come on, guys. وَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ. Allah said to the Banu Israel, look, I told you, don't shed blood amongst each other. You telling me, look at the Middle East, look at the Muslim Ummah. We're fighting each other. And Allah said, well, this, you know, when Rasulullah said, you will follow exactly the same thing. La ilaha illallah. Then the next thing, like you read Surah Baqarah, it's all in order. The next thing that happens is, كلما جاءهم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسهم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون. When after your ego gets big and you want to do whatever you want, every time you hear a revelation that is against your ego, you want to question the revelation. You say, Imam, how come this is haram? It starts with all this. So the first one is this. Imam, it's not in the Quran, is it? If it's not in the Quran, no problem, I don't need to do it. Because the Quran doesn't say so, I'm not going to do it. Right? That's how it starts. Next thing is Quran. Imam, the Quran says this, but I heard this opinion says this. Okay, so you don't want to accept it, and you'll find arguments not to accept it. So that's one thing. And then you go against the religious people who are telling you what the Quran says. And you carry on. What's the next thing? قُلْ مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِجِبْرِيلَ فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِ. Allah says the next thing is you question ghaib. You question the unseen. You question revelation. You question the fact that Allah would have sent revelation to this man Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just like the Banu Israel questioned revelation of Musa alayhi salam. So you get to the basis of aqeedah and faith, and you reject faith. Are you telling me the people in the world are not doing this? La ilaha illallah is going exactly how the Quran has said.